Live from our Kwacha studios, we bring you the latest edition of MBC News with me, Kumbukani Piri, and Linley Mponda, our sign language interpreter. Tonight, our top stories. Malawi commits to increase the number of its population connected to electricity by 2030. Pressure mounts on the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, to exonerate itself from the recent acts of political violence, including the mysterious death of some members of the Malawi Congress Party. Komfozi and part of Makandi tea estates in Tyolo closed due to violation of labour laws. Well, I'm glad you could join us. President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera has said the $300 million, approximately 525.3 billion kwacha grant signed on Monday between Malawi and the World Bank in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, as a key driver of the ATM strategy. Dr. Chakwera said this when he presided over the signing of the grant on the sideline of the Mission 300 Africa Energy Summit, where over 12 heads of state have gathered to commit to increased electricity access for the African population. Justin Nkweo is in Tanzania's capital, Dar es Salaam.
Dr. Chakwera started off by narrating how he spent his childhood without having electricity. He said what still bothers him is that even though half a century has passed since independence, a majority of Malawians are still in the dark. The Malawi leader indicated that this is the reason when he was elected into power, he vowed to connect more Malawians to electricity, and this promise is being realized as the percentage of electricity access among Malawians has moved to 25% from 12% in 2020. The president said aside from this, increasing electricity generation and distribution for the country remains at the core of his heart, as it is a key driver of the ATM strategy. He indicated that electricity will power agricultural production by bringing produce to value-adding factories, power mining sector by enabling the country to turn minerals into sovereign wealth for development, and that electricity will power the tourism sector by expanding the recreational activities that visitors will enjoy near forests, rivers, lakes and mountains. Simplex Cholabanda is the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, and he agrees with the president.
In agriculture, we always look at not only production, but also value addition. All these require energy in the form of electricity, tourism as well. But more importantly, the mining sector requires a lot of energy if we are to extract, value add and process our minerals. We really need electricity, including manufacturing. You cannot talk about manufacturing minus electricity. The good thing is that this is coming at a time when we are not only targeting the urban and peri-urban people, we are also targeting the rural masses. I think that's the reason why we are talking about 2.7 million people, benefiting from this, but also 75% of the people, benefiting from clean cooking solutions.
The $300 million grant signed, which is under Accelerating Sustainable and Clean Energy Access Transformation in Malawi, Ascent Malawi, will go towards increasing sustainable and clean energy for Malawians and increase energy access to 70% by 2030 from the current 25%. The World Bank said Malawi has qualified for the grant after demonstrating its capacity to connect more people to electricity, as it has increased electricity access by more than 50% from 12% to 25% within 2 years. The ATM strategy leverages agriculture, tourism, mining and manufacturing to grow the Malawi economy. Justin Nkweo, MBC News, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera has assented to some bills of parliament in exercise of the powers vested in him under Section 89 of the Constitution. The bills include Bill number 22 of 2024, Constitution Amendment, Bill number 23 of 2024, Judicial Service Administration, Bill number 25 of 2024, Financial Services Amendment, Bill number 26 of 2024, Insurance, Bill number 27 of 2024, Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets, Bill number 30 of 2024, Value Added Tax Amendment, Bill number 31 of 2024, European Investment Bank Water Energy Framework Loan Authorization, Bill number 32 of 2024, OPEC Fund for International Development, Shire Valley Transformation Program Phase 2, Authorization and Ratification, as well as Bill number 33 of 2024, Appropriation Amendment. Meanwhile, President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera has signed some key presidential executive orders, which include promotion of medical officers, termination of a concession agreement with Motor Angel, and rejection of Norman Chisale's request to unfreeze his funds and properties suspected to have been acquired through fraudulent means. Details in this report. President Chakwera has issued some executive orders, which include promotion of some health officers, termination of a concession agreement with Motor Angel due to its losses since being given the concession, and rejection of Norman Chisale's request to unfreeze his funds and properties suspected to have been acquired through fraudulent means. Confirming the development to MBC, Presidential Press Secretary Anthony Kasunda said the orders have been done to see improved service delivery.
It is true that the President has made a number of decisions on issues that were brought to his attention. For example, the President has promoted some medical officers to make sure that people that are suffering from bone diseases are treated well. So the aim of that presidential decision is to improve health service delivery. The President has also ordered that procurement of fertilizer should be done on G2G. The decision has been made in order to cut out on delivery delays that normally happen when you use third parties. All these are just to improve service delivery, and it is an expectation that the ministries, departments or agencies that are involved or affected by these decisions will ensure that the presidential decisions have been implemented.
Weighing in on the development is political analyst at MUBAS, Chimwemwe Tsitsi, who says the executive orders signify the president's commitment to deal with economic challenges the country is facing.
I think he's resolved to go into or to adopting government-to-government arrangement in terms of procurement of fertilizer because of the bottlenecks that perhaps the country has been facing by using middlemen. And in the process, we've had some shoddy deals, some allegations of fraudsters coming in to actually be involved in the procurement when actually they do not have the capacity, or perhaps they are involved in some other trade other than purchasing and supplying fertilizer. No progress has been registered so far in as far as improving our lake transport system is concerned. And perhaps is doing this to ensure that people that rely on lake transport service, especially those that are based on our island of Lekoma, as well as its sister island, Chisumu, have been affected. So to ensure that these people are assisted in terms of improved the transportation system, perhaps this is why he has decided to sign this executive order. And on the issue to do with Norman Chisale, the former presidential guard, I think it is just a matter of the president not necessarily interfering with the course of justice, but rather where as a leader you've observed that perhaps we have some legal bottlenecks when it comes to recovery of public funds that are alleged to have been stolen by somebody, or indeed some fraudulent deals may have been the source of such funds. Perhaps as a nation we may need the president to intervene.
The signing of the executive orders is in line with key values of President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera's administration in upholding the rule of law and also fixing the broken systems in order to achieve efficiency and effectiveness in all government operations for the benefit of Malawians. Kumbukani Piri, NBC News, Blantyre. Back to Tanzania, where the two-day summit of African heads of state and government has ended in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, where Malawi has committed to increase the number of its population connected to electricity. President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera made the commitment as part of committing to a bigger mission that 300 million Africans should have access to electricity by 2030. Dr. Chakwera said by 2030, 70% of the country's population will be connected to electricity. Justin Kweo has details.
Malawi has committed to Mission 300, a World Bank and African Development Bank initiative aimed at ensuring that 300 million Africans are connected to electricity by 2030. President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera made the commitment for the country in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, during the Mission 300 African Heads of State Energy Summit. As part of the commitment, the country has also adopted the Dar es Salaam Declaration. Speaking during the summit, Dr. Chakwera said as part of its commitment, Malawi will increase electricity access percentage to 70% by 2030 from the current 25%. The Malawi leader said the dream of connecting 300 million Africans by 2030 can only be achieved if countries focus on regional integration, creating an enabling environment for the private sector, and making sure that power utilities are financially viable.
Reliable and sustainable energy is not just only critical for ending or to end energy poverty, but also to building resilience against climate change. So let me close by stating that we need to remember that universal energy access is not just an aspiration, it is an obligation to our people and future generations. And together, through unity, ambition, and innovation, we should transform Africa into a continent where every citizen has the power to thrive.
Minister of Energy Ibrahim Matola emphasizes the importance of Malawi's participation to the summit.
In Africa, there are 600 million people who are lacking electricity. Then the World Bank and the other African Development Bank, Rockefeller, and the other JEP and other financial institutions, they sat together and brought a roadmap. How can they reduce the 300 million people from the 600 million people without access to electricity? So the roadmap is for 5 years, from 2025, this is January, towards an end. But all the paperwork and all technical things have been done. That's why we are here as Malawi to make a presentation on how Malawi is going to do the roadmap in order to reduce.
More than 12 heads of state from Africa have gathered in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania for the summit. Justin Mkweu, NBC News, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
This is NBC News, a reminder of our top stories. Malawi commits to increase the number of its population connected to electricity by 2030. Pressure mounts on the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, to exonerate itself from the recent acts of political violence, including the mysterious death of some members of the Malawi Congress Party. Komfozi and part of Makandi tea estates in Tyolo closed due to violation of labor laws.
From the 28th of January 2025, the new NBC experience begins on NBC TV1, and love for NBC2 on the go flourish. Get connected on the following new channels. On DSTV, NBC TV1 is on channel 268, NBC2 on the go is on channel 269, and on Go TV, NBC TV1 is on channel 15, NBC2 on the go, channel 16. Enjoy.
Welcome back. Construction of the much-awaited 400-meter Mzuzu Airport runway extension is set to be completed in 2 weeks. This was revealed during an inspection of the construction by the Minister of Transport, Jacob Hara, who was accompanied by his deputy, Peter Dimba. Chisomo Manda has details.
Once completed, Mzuzu Airport is expected to start receiving commercial flights, which has not been the case for quite some time. The Minister of Transport, Jacob Hara, told MBC that government found it necessary to renovate the airport, considering the booming tourism and mining industries in the northern region, as well as the rapid growth of Mzuzu City.
And in the next 14 days, the contractor has assured us that this runway will be open for bigger flights to land in Mzuzu. And that's what we've been waiting for, because according to projections, we've had projections growing tourism and mining activities that are happening in the northern region, and then the growing also activities in the Mzuzu city that have increased the demand for air flights in Mzuzu.
He said in addition to extending the runway, there are plans to renovate the terminal building and construct a new perimeter fence around the airport. When asked about the much anticipated Otonchiro Airport, the minister said that the president, who will provide more information on the matter soon, has secured funding for the construction of the new Otonchiro International Airport in Mzuzu. He added that what remains is for experts to advise on the ideal location for the project. The proposed sites include where there is the current Mzuzu Airport, Lusangazi, and Ikwendeni.
But this is the new financing that Dr. Chakwera has found elsewhere so that we revitalize transport industry in Malawi. We're going to build up close to 3,000 kilometers of new roads. We're going to do this airport here, Mzuzu, an airport in Mzuzu at Kia, but also Kia are building a new international terminal. We'll revitalize Chileka Airport, but also a new airport in Mangochi.
The Mzuzu Airport runway extension project, which started in December end, was scheduled for completion in 2 weeks. However, when asked about the delay, officials from Nasudu Construction Company attributed it to the scarcity of quarry stone that meets their specifications. This prompted the minister to contact one of the suppliers, who agreed to provide the required materials immediately. Somomanda, MBC News, Mzuzu.
Pressure is mounting on the opposition Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, to exonerate itself from the recent acts of political violence, including mysterious death of some members of the governing Malawi Congress Party, MCP. This follows the death of a senior official of the MCP, Zintenga Banda, whose body was found in sugarcane fields behind Komforzi plantations in Cholo. Weighing in his views on the matter is Executive Director of Independent Civil Society, Caesar Kondowe.
I would also want to say that life is very important. It is a right, and everybody is basically free to ensure that his life is protected. It's very fundamental. It's a birthright. But at the same time, these kind of incidents are very dangerous because, as I've already alluded to, they would definitely, promote people in terms of not participating in the entire electoral process because it will create fear, amongst many supporters, and that can also contribute so much to low voter turnout, and that's very dangerous again when it comes to the consolidation of our democracy. So if we would want to ensure that as many Malawians do participate in these processes, let's ensure that the whole exercise, the whole process, should be peaceful enough, and that's why we normally talk about having the outcome of an election that is credible, that is legitimate, that is free and fair. And the freeness and fairness can only come in when we are able to tolerate between amongst ourselves that those who are going to win should win with integrity, and those who are going to lose should be able to lose with integrity. And life goes on, and the country moves on the path of peace.
But DPP spokesperson Shadrack Namalomba is distancing the party from the recent incidents.
So we have said it now and again, and we have pleaded with the police now and again to please arrest these culprits. Arrest those people in Bangui, arrest all those people. Government is supposed to protect each and every citizen. Whether you come from the northern region, whether you come from the central region, whether from the southern region.
Meanwhile, the police have expressed confidence that they will arrest the suspects soon. Edward Kabango is Southeastern Region Police spokesperson. Now, the Ministry of Labour has vowed to continue pushing for the welfare of workers in the country. Minister responsible, Engineer Vitumbiko Mumba, made the pledge after closing down Kumfozi and part of Makandi Tea Estates in Cholo for violation of labour laws. The impromptu visit to Makandi found workers there working under unhygienic conditions, prompting the minister to immediately order closure of part of the tea plantation. And in a related development, the Ministry of Labour has given Mapeto David Whitehead and Sons Company a 7 days improvement notice, demanding them to work on the workplace safety and health violations that have been noted at the company. Austin Kajipea has details.
The Minister of Labour, Engineer Vitumbiko Mumba, visited Mapeto David Whitehead Textile Company in Makata as part of his continued tour of various factories and companies across the country. After inspecting some sections at the factory, the minister observed that there are a number of issues that need improvement, citing gross violations of labour laws. Among them, lack of personal protective equipment, PPEs. At one point, he engaged the staff to hear their concerns. The minister also commended the attitude of the leadership, the general manager and the owner for their understanding and swift action to fire an Indian expatriate who has been verbally abusing and insulting Malawians.
Indeed, there are gross violations of labour laws and regulations, but again, there is some areas where they are doing well. Unlike elsewhere, everywhere it's gross violations. But there's some areas where they're doing well, but most areas aren't doing well. And again, the attitude of the leadership, the manager and the owner is that they're accommodative, and some of the decisions have made them. Like there was someone else who is from Indian expatriate who has been verbally abusing and insulting Malawians and treating them as if they're animals. He has been fired today. That's commitment from the general that they are willing to understand and appreciate what's on the ground. Number one, we found that there is no PPE. What you saw there are uniforms, which you are given on Saturday. They are uniforms, not PPE. So we have told them that within 7 days, every employee must have what? PPEs. The changing room is not for human beings, it's for dogs. They must come up with a proper changing rooms. There is no lighting in some warehouses. Somewhere they have lighting, no ventilation, and again, there was no pre-employment and periodic medical checkup. They are working with chemicals. So if you're working with chemicals and biological material, the employees are supposed to undergo periodic chemical and biological medical checks. They have never done that.
On his part, General Manager for Mapeto David Whitehead Textile Company, Martin Impata, assured the minister the challenges will be rectified within the specified time.
It's a doable thing. In fact, as I stated earlier on in my opening response to the minister, I said, if an auditor comes at a village, you're better off with him, because he will unveil something that you don't know. So to me, he was like an auditor who came around and he picked up some issues which he says in 7 days we should do. Yes, they're doable.
After Mapeto, the minister and officials from the Ministry of Labour proceeded to Soni Community Technical College in Chiradzulu to inspect the progress of the construction. Austin Kachpeya, MBC News.
And that's it for NBC News. A reminder of our top stories. Malawi commits to increase the number of its population connected to electricity by 2030. Pressure mounts on the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, to exonerate itself from the recent acts of political violence. And Komforzi and part of Makandi tea estates in Tiolo closed due to violation of labour laws. Follow our news on our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen, or get the latest news by subscribing to our SMS services by dialing *364#. You've been with me, Kumbukani Piri, and Lily Mponda was our sign language interpreter tonight. Thanks for watching and goodbye.